in the entire history of smartphones had read the message, "I think I might be falling in love with you," in 7 seconds. This was the fastest he had ever responded to anything I had sent him in the entire history of smartphones. I put my phone face down on the desk. I stared at the ceiling. "Are you okay?" Priya said from the next desk. "No," I said. Chapter 3. What had happened? What had happened was straightforward and also catastrophic. Luke and I had been texting. My phone showed 2 conversations near the top of my messages, Luke and Dad. They were 3-letter names beginning with a different letter, Luke, Dad. I had been in the Luke conversation. I had typed the message in the Luke conversation, but at some point, at this fatal, irreversible point between typing and pressing send, I had accidentally tapped the back button and navigated to the conversation above it, which was Dad. And then, without looking at the name at the top, which I should have done, which I will do for the rest of my life in every single text conversation I ever have from this moment forward, I had pressed send. Priya was looking at me. "What happened?" she said. "I sent a text to the wrong person," I said. "Who did it go to?" "My dad." Priya nodded slowly. "What did it say?" "That I might be falling in love with him." Priya made a sound. It was a sound that contained in approximately equal measure horror and the suppressed beginning of laughter. "Priya," I said. "I'm not laughing," she said, very clearly laughing. "You're literally laughing." "I'm having a medical response to information. It's involuntary." My phone buzzed. I turned it over. It was Dad. Chapter 4. Dad's Response. My father's text said, "Jamie, is this for me, or did you mean to send this to someone else? Dad." He signed it Dad. My father signed his text Dad every single time, as if I might otherwise be confused who was texting me. He had been doing this since I got my first phone at 14. The signature had never felt more appropriate or more painful than it did at this moment. Priya had come around to my side of the desk to read the screen. "He signed it Dad," she said. "He always signs it Dad," I said. "This time it's relevant," she said. "Priya," I said. "You have to respond," she said. "I know I have to respond. What do I say?" "You explain it was an accident, wrong person, meant for someone else." "And then he's going to ask who," I said. "Yes," she said. I looked at the ceiling again. Gerald the plant sat on my windowsill, offering no advice. I typed, "Hi, Dad. Yes, wrong person. So sorry. Meant that to a friend. Hope you're well. How's the weather there?" I sent it. The immediate pivot to weather, I felt, was both transparent and necessary. I had to normalize the conversation as quickly as possible. The weather was reliable. The weather would not ask follow-up questions. My father responded in 4 minutes, which was also a record. "Ha ha. All good. Sunny here. Who's the lucky person? Is it serious? Are you seeing someone? Your mother wants to know. Dad." Your mother wants to know. 4 words that in any other context would be unremarkable. In this context, they told me that my father had already gone into the next room and told my mother about the text, which meant that my mother, who had been asking me about my dating life with the patient persistence of someone who has waited a long time and intends to keep waiting until she gets the information she wants, my mother now knew that I was falling in love with someone. I hadn't even told Luke yet. Chapter 5. Luke. The problem, the additional problem sitting on top of the original problem, was that Luke still did not know. Luke did not know I was falling in love with him because the text I intended for Luke had gone to my father. Luke's conversation was still sitting there on my phone, the last message from him a funny observation about something he had seen that morning, waiting for a response that had accidentally been sent to the wrong address entirely. I stared at Luke's conversation. I now had two things to manage simultaneously. One, my father and my mother, who knew I was falling in love with someone and were going to ask questions until they had complete information. Two, Luke, who still did not know how I felt and to whom I now needed to send the text that had accidentally gone to my father, which I could no longer send because now it feels like the second time I was saying it rather than the first, and the context was different and everything was slightly ruined. "What do I do about Luke?" I said to Priya. "Tell him," she said. I know I need to tell him, but now it feels weird because the first time I said it, it went to my dad. So the second time I say it, I'll be thinking about the fact that my dad read it first, and now my mom knows, and... "Jamie," Priya said. "What?" "Text the boy." "Right," I said. I opened Luke's conversation. I stared at the text box. I typed, "I think I might be falling in love with you." Emoji. I pressed send to Luke this time. I checked the name at the top of the conversation 3 times before pressing send. Luke. Luke. L-U-K-E. Then I put the phone face down on the desk and did not look at it for 6 minutes, which was the longest 6 minutes of my recent life. Chapter 6. 2 responses. My phone buzzed. I turned it over. It was Luke. "Jamie, I've been wanting to say that for weeks. I feel exactly the same." Heart. I sat at my desk and felt the specific warmth of something large going right at exactly the moment when several other things were going slightly wrong. My phone buzzed again. Dad. "Your mother says you should bring them home for Sunday dinner when you're ready. No pressure." Dad. No pressure. My parents' idea of no pressure and most people's idea of no pressure were different things, but the gesture was kind and I found myself, despite everything, slightly moved by it. I put the phone down. Priya was looking at me.